This episode is brought to you by the Denver Art Museum's summer exhibition, Desert Rider: Dreaming in Motion. Desert Rider explores the intersections of Indigenous, Latinx, and Chicano lowrider and skateboard culture in the American Southwest. Discover large-scale installations, photographs, and more by artists like Carlos Fresquez, Naniba Chacon, Justin Favela, and more. You can even create your own mini paper car that you can cruise down a miniature model of Federal Boulevard. The exhibition is on display now through September 24th. Learn more about Desert Rider: Dreaming in Motion at denverartmuseum.org.
Today on CityCast Denver, there's an old truth folks are fond of repeating out here in the West. They say, whiskey's for drinking, water's for fighting over. Energy drinks are for gaming, sugar-free probiotic seltzer is for walking the dog. Herbal tea is for sleeping, and cannabis-infused soda is for no one at all. And it matters because here in Colorado, we got a big beverage industry. So in honor of the 4th of July week, we're talking about the cold ones in your cooler, no matter what they are, plus a round of wins and fails, and our best bets for your weekend. Today is Friday, July 7th. I'm Paul Caroli, and here's what Denver's talking about. Welcome back to CityCast Denver, the show where conservatives just don't want to work anymore. First, they didn't want to bake cakes. Now they don't want to make wedding websites.
Oh, for fictitious people.
Yeah, tell me about that.
It really bothered me. So this is about the Supreme Court ruling in the 303 Creative Wedding website case. What's the group behind it? Alliance Defending Freedom. It's the same sort of legal group that was behind the Masterpiece Cake Shop fight. Colorado just wants to be the hate state. We're trying to live back up to those 90s expectations.
Some people long for those days.
But at any rate, there was this case that was challenging this woman's First Amendment right to refuse to make wedding websites for queer couples. And the New Republic did a little reporting to find out who was the person in this case that she was against.
Because standing is important at the Supreme Court. You have to have someone with some sort of harm done to them in order to bring a case. That's kind of the whole point of our justice system. But
they found out that the person in the case is not really real. I mean, the gentleman in question's name, address, and all of that, the reporter was able to find. She contacted him. Melissa Guerra-Grant, she's a great reporter, contacted him and said, hey, do you know anything about this? And he was like, well, you know, I'm married to a woman and I have a kid. Again, not a huge qualifier, except for this was a case about a same-sex couple situation. And he said, I had no idea I was involved.
Just no idea. No one had contacted this person.
Supreme Court case.
So absurd that is real, that happened.
But
this week.
But to me, this is where that side of the world is they have to make stuff up to bring it to the highest court in the land who will rule on it. Yeah. So, I don't know, the Supreme Court feels like a little bit of a sham, but take that for what you will. Kinda.
Lately, they've had a different approach. Might be a...
So weird.
Anyway, it's Friday. You heard her voice already. Bree's here.
Hi, Paul.
Hey. We're here at 5280 Magazine, where the whole freshly redesigned June issue is still splayed out on the wall where we're recording. I do love
that we get to see... their magazine.
And we get to talk about it now because it's on newsstands. It's the new redesign. We've been looking at these stories for a few weeks now. Anything grab your eye, Brie?
I mean, I did love Jeff's piece on Casa Bonita,
of course. God. He got an interview with Matt and Trey.
Yeah.
That's not
and the
everyone.
Photos are great. And,
love the photos.
There's a piece with Daniel Seawalker, one of my favorite muralists and artists here in Denver. I haven't looked into their food and drink, but it's hard to not be into the photos of really good looking food. So
yeah,
I'm excited to read this issue or at least talk about it now.
I know. I am too. I am too. It's like a menu. Who are we gonna, anyway, that's coming up on the show soon. But we have a great guest this Friday. Well, we're kind of guestless actually on this short holiday week. So we've got our still new producer, Olivia Jewel Love, to talk about the news of the week. Welcome, Olivia.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
How was your 4th of July week, Olivia?
It was great. I had a good time.
Yeah? Did you do fireworks or did you do a drone show?
I guess kind of both. I went to the drone show in Lakewood. And then
nice.
It started pouring rain and lightninging, so everybody ran. And then I was eating a delicious Indian food dinner, and then we looked out the window and there were drones in the sky spelling things and making fireworks. And so
In the rain?
Yes.
Wow.
And so I knew they were going to do it rain or shine, but I didn't think they would do it in lightning. But, whatever. They did it. And it was cool from what I could see.
It's definitely an interesting upgrade to the 4th of July experience.
Yeah. And then I went to the Park Hill Parade on the actual 4th. Some children gave me free lemonade. Shout out to those kids.
Cool.
Saw Mike Bennett. Saw
Senator Michael Bennett.
Mike.
Good old Mike.
Good old Mike.
Mr. B.
Mr. B.
Well, Olivia, you invoked lemonade, a beverage. I think that's a good segue for us to get into our main topic of the day.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about beverages because of the 4th of July holiday and because it was maybe the slowest news week ever. But beverages
to this article's credit,
yeah.
It was a piece by Helen Zhu, who was writing for Westward about kava. It's the most in-depth piece I've read about kava yet. I totally understand it a little bit more, I think.
100%. Yeah.
But yeah.
Before we get to kava, though, there is a reason why beverages matter. I know this is this is some data. Metro Denver Economic Development Corporation. They say Colorado has the nation's highest employment concentration in beverage production, with more than twice the proportion of beverage manufacturing jobs compared to other states. So there are more people here that make beverages than anywhere else. That means people here, many listeners, probably beverage makers, beverage pourers, beverage people.
Dang, love me a good beverage.
It's important. I think it's important here more than other people. So
well,
kava.
It's like obviously, but also we're talking about the craft brew industry.
Sure.
We're talking about the sort of burgeoning kombucha industry. I mean, hello, the Pepsi plant. There's
Hello.
Hello.
Well, think about how many jobs that entails. I'm just saying.
Tons, hundreds.
I get it.
Yeah.
Celestial seasonings, the yerba mate.
I went down a rabbit hole in celestial seasonings. Do we want to get into that?
Did you
now?
go look
there
at
is some
there,
controversial stuff there I learned.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
I was going to say, did you see the Sleepy Time T-Bears TikTok?
No. What is happening on there?
He just has good content.
Is he like a character? Do you get to
Yeah.
know him? What's he like?
He's sleepy. He makes tea
Makes
before
sense.
bed, and he wears a little nightcap.
Makes sense.
I grew up with, that was my favorite tea as a kid. What a dorky thing to say, but I know I can see that picture of the Sleepy Time
but
bear.
he has a TikTok, and he makes pretty good content.
Interesting. Well, we'll check that out. Kava. I mean, that's the reason why we're here. Let's start with kava. We'll do a survey of beverages, but we all read this piece from Westward this week, which I thought was fascinating. I mean, I've seen signs for like kava and kratom around the city last few years. Seemed like maybe increasingly, but to actually know what happened was like fascinating. But I don't know, maybe should we summarize it? Does anyone want to, like, what details stuck out to you two?
Well, that it's a fairly relatively new phenomenon of a beverage in America. I think that was the big thing to me, was this is sort of a South Pacific Islander drink that's ceremonial, and there's, it's really rooted in tradition and ancestral knowledge and things like that. And it came to America, or at least proliferated in America starting in the early 2000s in Florida. But a lot of states, I feel like, have already sort of pushed back on it. And it seems like Colorado's laws are a little bit unclear, but like many substances, Colorado's that test case place, the libertarian leaning place.
Exactly.
So we're getting a little bit of that here and there. Denver has some specific rules, but outlying municipalities don't necessarily have them around kava, and then kratom, which we'll talk about.
Which is similar, but not the same. Because it had more psychoactive properties,
it was
my
more
understanding.
opiate leaning, which felt very problematic to me.
Have either of you tried kava?
No.
I have.
Have you?
Megan, my wife, she was really into this for a while because it chills you out. And that was something she wanted to get off coffee. And she thought, well, it'd be nice to have something in the morning that I brewed, that I had a ritual with. And it was, I mean, she tried a bunch of different brands. We have some in our closet. So I've tried a few different ones. It takes so long. It takes so long. And boy, the
Like
taste.
how long?
Half hour. Because it's got to like...
That is a ritual.
Think about the ritual ceremonial aspect is not really an American thing. We're like, now, we want this now.
Well, I brought up earlier, like, the idea of matcha is becoming really, really kind of hot right now. And I have mixed feelings about it because I feel like white people have kind of overtaken the ceremonial aspect. You know, influencers have matcha lines now, and they make their own matcha as white people. And then other white people, you know, use the whisk and all the, you know, traditional tools to make their matcha and have kind of a little ceremony of their own. And I can't decide if, you know, that is cultural appropriation, people just trying to do something fun for themselves, or what?
I think that can be a lot of the things that we drink can be traced back to origins of similar natures, like coffee, Ethiopian coffee ceremonies, Turkish coffee. Like before coffee proliferated as the thing you can get at a gas station, it had to start somewhere. I feel like Gastropod has a really good in-depth look into coffee. But
we'll link to it.
But I'm just thinking about like we drink coffee like it's whatever now, right?
Sometimes I think for some people it is that ritual. I think there's like people who are really into that third wave of coffee, which we learned about after moderately making fools of ourselves on our coffee episodes, not really knowing.
We got some
coffee.
very helpful feedback from our coffee connoisseur listeners. Thank you.
And they were like, coffee's a huge thing here. This third wave coffee where you do like a pour over or like Chemex, you weigh the beans, you get it to really specific measurements. It sounds like science experiments.
I used to be a barista in college.
Really?
Yeah. So
tell us.
Well, I was never that good, frankly. And I also worked during the summer, so people really liked their iced coffee. So that kind of put a damper on stuff. But it was really intense. They really wanted to build my espresso palate.
Interesting.
And that was tough for someone with high anxiety who did not react well to caffeine.
I was going to say, my husband's very similar in that, like, he just it doesn't take much for it to heighten in a not good way.
They were just having me like, you know, drink straight espresso. My whole shift.
Oh goodness!
And they were like, "What do you taste?" And I was like, "Coffee." And they were like, "No, orange peel." You know, blossom. And I was like, coffee. So I wasn't very good at it, but there was a lot that went into it, you know, the dialing in, the weighing of the beans. There is a lot, and it's very ritualistic. And I still like to take that for myself. I don't usually make coffee at home because, you know, I like caffeine in the morning, but usually if I'm going to have coffee, I like to kind of have it in a third space, like a coffee shop, and, you know, watch somebody, you know, craft it and just kind of enjoy it in a different space and not really try to rush it and make it so
But
fast.
I do want to come back to what you were saying about the influencers and the sort of overtaking of matcha. It's like a brand thing.
And the identity.
That is super not.
I know.
Doesn't.
It's very
weird.
Sit
right.
It's very weird and kind of yucky.
And I got a similar thing with the kava story a little bit because there was a owner of a kava bar they interviewed who said, you know, we source specifically from this one family, and we do, if it's like the origin of the kava itself is like the thing. We need to be able to be clear on where this kava comes from. So that's their big thing. But like in the end, that still appropriation though? Even if you're doing it, quote, the right way? Or getting it from the, quote, original source, or respecting the original source or whatever?
Those are hard questions.
It's hard to know because then, you know, people are going to come back. Even if you're doing it the right way, then it becomes a trend. And then, you know, there's a bunch of people who aren't going to do it the right way. So it's like, you know, was it all for naught or what?
And sometimes it's about celebrating, and sometimes it's about building bridges between differences. And like food and drink is one of the most powerful ways to do that. Like share a meal 100%. With someone, learn about their culture, share about yours, feel connected. Also, like, you know, ritual and identity and beverages. I don't know. There was one quote in the article I want to bring up. This is from a professor emeritus at CU Boulder, Paul Shankman, who I actually interviewed for a project years ago.
Called Paul on Paul.
Hey, Paul. Ew.
The Paul Show.
Paul talks to Paul.
Paul talk Paul.
It was me and my brothers, Logan and what's his name?
Jake.
Jake Paul.
The three Paul brothers.
Paul.
And our dad, Paul Shankman, professor emeritus at CU Boulder. He said, quote, "Central cab stations often have large cans of brewed kava so that drivers can scoop out portions with their coffee mugs, then sip comfortably for hours on end." So this is like a very modern, like, it's just like a
Usage
different way
of-
of using this thing that's not, it doesn't, I mean, to me, I'm a white guy from Ohio. That doesn't sound like the same ritual that was described earlier in the article about.
No, that's giving 7-Eleven coffee.
Right. 7-Eleven coffee. It's like, this is used for something. It's just, there's that chemical property that seems to be desired, where it reminded me of coffee. It reminded me of tea, energy drinks, all of them. It's just
Well, also
these
like
small differences. Tea.
is a great one. If you've ever been to an actual tea house, or like we went to this Japanese tea garden in Portland, and the process and like picking out the tea, and then they come and they do this thing at your table depending on what kind you get and all these things, and like that's an experience. But I'm also the guy that grabs the Sleepy Time pre-made bag, throws it in a cup, and puts some hot water on it.
Got good marketing.
You know, I know they do.
That
They do
friggin'
have
bear.
stellar marketing.
That
I mean,
bear.
Wait to
it
meet
goes
that
back
guy.
to those
Shout
real
out to that
80s,
bear.
90s imagery.
Since we've circled back to tea, we have to talk about Celestial Seasonings, because this is actually like a really interesting
Oh
company.
my god! I like didn't want to get into it because I kind of have avoided learning about it because I don't want to be tainted
don't
by
want
the
to
fact
see
that
how
I
the
grew up like
sausage is
just
made.
enjoying Celestial Seasonings tea.
I enjoy it too. I don't think this is going to change it for me. I think I got up to a place where I'm going to continue to buy it and love it, especially the Zinger line.
Oh, yeah.
Red
with
Zinger.
Lemon
ice
Zinger.
water in the
Lemon
summer.
Zinger.
Lemon zinger, baby.
Put a couple of slices of citrus in there. You got yourself a
Sheesh.
real nice beverage. Real nice.
So what's this controversy?
Well, the whole company, it's owned by this big conglomerate now, but founded in 1969 by, the story is, Colorado hikers who discovered aromatic herbs in the Rockies. They named it Celestial Seasonings after one of their co-founders' flower names. So these are like new agey hippie types in Boulder.
That is the Boulder lore that
Yes.
doesn't reflect the modern Boulder. I think we know today.
Peyton is making a face.
I know Peyton's like
Boulder.
relatives from Boulder. I have Boulder Connect. Her son is currently in Boulder.
But so anyway, this is from an article by from Van Winkles that we'll post to. But these same founders, apparently the ideology was based on this book called the Urantia book, a New Age Bible that they believed came from aliens, but was likely written by William Sadler, a 19th century psychiatrist who was a big adherent of eugenics.
Oh,
Why
Lord.
does it always go back to eugenics? Gosh,
That was the way people thought back
I
then.
know.
You're drinking the tea. You're not drinking the Kool-Aid. You're drinking the tea.
That bums me out.
drinking
It's
the
like
Sleepy
always
Time
goes
tea.
back to ableism. Like, you know what we need to do?
Yeah.
Eradicate people with disabilities.
It's just it's horrible. It's horrible. Anyway, that's the people behind this company that founded it.
Great.
It's different people now.
Thanks for that.
Can I give you guys another alternative to
Yes.
a local tea brand that
Yeah.
I absolutely love that does not get enough credit? It's called Sport Tea.
Ooh.
Okay.
It is.
Sporty.
You can make it warm, but it is truly an iced tea, and it's
like
made
iced tea.
to be cold brewed. And it's got like ginger. It has a little mate in it. It's got ginseng. It has this like uniquely slightly sweet flavor, and I have drank it in place of coffee sometimes because
Interesting.
it's kind of promoted as like an energy drink.
Okay.
But it's
Yeah.
like way older than energy.
Kombucha is another drink. We've talked about it a little bit. We should talk about it
Love
more because it seems
kombucha.
like it's huge here. It seems
I
like it's
love it.
everywhere.
But it's recent. Like 10 years ago, you could not get kombucha anywhere. And like if most people didn't understand it or tried it, they were like, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
And I've loved it. But I also lived in a sort of communal house where we tried to make kombucha. So
Yeah.
I was introduced to
Try
it.
to?
I don't like that
Oh.
story.
I know I don't want to tell that story.
Okay.
It's too depressing. But I
Someday.
have. It's been awesome to see the proliferation of kombucha. Like Happy Leaf, I feel like is probably the biggest brand that people know. I love that you can go somewhere and get it on tap. Like a lot of restaurants have it now. It's not just like the vegetarian restaurants or whatever, which is where you typically would find it. But it is definitely an acquired taste.
Yeah.
I would say. How do you guys feel about kombucha?
So I
yeah.
was a staunch kombucha hater. And then and like just total hater because my experience was I had one of those bottled kombuchas, like Synergy or I don't know, whatever it is. And then I had it and then it exploded on me in class and I was like, yikes.
And it makes everything smell like vinegar.
Oh yeah, just delicious. So I was like, this stuff sucks. Tastes disgusting, like vinegar juice.
To be fair, GT's is like Synergy is like the Pepsi of kombucha.
Well, so then I went in and I was writing this article when I was at Colorado Community Media, and I was writing this article and I interviewed the owner of True Bucha out in Lone Tree, and he has a tap room out there, and he gave me some, kombucha on tap, and I was just kind of looking at it. I was like, I do not want to drink this, and I tried it, and I was like, that's actually really good. And he was like, yeah. He basically explained that the stuff that's in the bottle like that just keeps on fermenting.
Oh, and that's what makes it so bitter sometimes.
It just keeps on cooking in there.
That makes sense because it's a fermented beverage. For folks that don't know, it's a fermented tea.
The freshness of the kombucha made it more interesting for you.
Fresh kombucha is the way to go.
Because it's like, with the live whatever in it, live cultures.
I guess that makes sense.
So I knew about the SCOBY and everything, and I was like, how? No. I was like, disgusting. But then, he's like, you got to have it fresh. That's the best stuff. And he was right. I mean, it was great fresh. So I was sort of converted at that point. I still don't think I'll be like, go in place. I actually did go to a coffee shop and get it right after that just to test his theory. I don't think it was as fresh as I had hoped.
I mean, you got it like right from the source, right? From that guy originally. Yeah. So that's going to be the best. But he said
he had a policy that he would replace the taps at the places he stocked. He would replace the kegs. He had kombucha kegs, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
But he would, he had like a time frame that they had to be replaced in because he didn't want his product to be yucky at these places. People get like gross kombucha. So
kombucha, if there was a beverage that I was going to make a bet on, bringing this back to the economy, I think there's a lot of people like you, Olivia, who are converting. And I read some data from Pat Snap that said the probiotic beverage market is set to double between 2018 and 2025.
Interesting.
Double.
But I also think that this plays into this conversation we're going to have here right now about
your microbiome.
No, about Paul's microbiome. No, about alternatives.
Yeah.
These are when the mainstream or when the main drink, a beverage of choice in a public setting as an adult is alcohol. There are alternatives, and kombucha is fast becoming an alternative. And again, as someone that considers myself sober from alcohol, I feel like I want to make that really clear for some folks who listen regularly and have heard me talk about it. Like this month will be my 17th year of sobriety from alcohol. Mm-hmm. Some folks don't drink kombucha because it is a fermented beverage, so they feel like that's alcohol to some extent. But for someone like me, this is another alternative that's not just pop.
Yeah.
Like I love, and I feel like anecdotally, I saw a bartender I know on Facebook commenting the other day, man, so many younger kids, like 21-year-olds are coming into my bar, meeting their friends and not drinking. And he wasn't like complaining, but he kind of was. And a lot of folks chimed in and were like, yeah, because a lot of us don't want to drink anymore. And so I think kombucha is rising because it's an alternative to a drink, but it's a nice beverage. It's an quote adult beverage. And you can sit down and enjoy it the way you maybe used to enjoy a glass of wine. Yeah. So that's where I would see that becoming more popular.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I feel the same way about kombucha as I do about beer, but in reverse.
How so?
Beer, the market is shrinking. Beer is getting less popular. People don't want to drink it as much. I think it's too heavy for people. Everyone's drinking White Claws. That's what was at my July 4th everything.
I like White Claw.
White Claw's great. It's a great product.
I love
It's so funny to me, you guys. This is like wine coolers in the 80s. Like it's not like something magical that they
Zima?
Yeah, it's kind of like a Zima. It's
but it's only 100 calories, Brie.
Oh, God, the calorie content.
Is that right, actually?
I don't know.
They are 100 calories.
It's diet. So that's diet culture in the drink world.
They became a thing, when I was in college like 2 seconds ago, because I'm a child. But
yeah, but we appreciate your perspective.
Yeah, but they became a thing. And it was like, oh my God, I don't have to drink like that weird mystery jungle juice out of the trash can. I can drink a White Claw. I don't have to drink a Natty Light because that's nasty.
100% better.
They're delicious. And you can't take, personally, I don't think.
No, man. You guys ever had a Miller High Life?
The champagne of beers?
Yes, that is a sweet, sweet beer.
But I think I think it's changing. I think there's this cultural change happening.
White Claw, I love seltzers. Like, they have made a huge difference for the drinking culture in my life.
And that also is a very slow rise that we've seen. Because again, when I was a kid, I was such a weird kid about drinks. I loved Perrier and San Pellegrino, clearly Canadian, which was the super sweet version of it. But LaCroix, right, is the greatest example of this becoming the mainstay, even though now we found out they have PFAS in them, so you can't really. Oh yeah,
LaCroix has PFAS?
What's PFAS?
Forever chemicals.
Oh great.
We stopped drinking LaCroix in our house.
Well, I'm already probably 90% microplastics.
Topo Chico actually has the worst PFAS of all seltzers. But at any rate,
really,
yeah. But seltzers are on the rise, so it makes sense that the alcoholic version of a seltzer is also on the rise, because you're right. A lot of beer is gross. Let's be real.
Yes.
I mean, it's just not right for every situation. As a beer liker, there are certain situations where a nice cold beer is the exact right thing.
This is where I'm missing Peyton in this conversation.
Yeah.
She's our she's our person with taste.
Well, I think we could probably talk about beverages all day.
We really could.
Honestly, this is a more fun topic than I even thought it was going to be. But we'll post links to all of those stories we mentioned. And I think I want to hear from you all, listeners. I want to know, what are you sipping on?
Yeah.
I'm calling this the first annual official CityCast Denver unofficial survey of what Denverites are drinking. Tell us what's in your cooler this summer. Leave us a voicemail or send us a text at the Beverages Hotline. Bree, you got a better one than that?
I'm thinking of the Usher song. It's like, all you gotta do is tell me what you're sipping on.
Call us at the Usher Hotline.
The Usher's What You Sipping On Hotline.
Exactly. That number is 720-500-5418. We're going to hear from Peyton on beverages later, alongside wins and fails and our best bets for your weekend. And we're back. We're going to do our new favorite segment, Wins and Fails. We all have a win of the week and a fail of the week, and we're going to talk about them. Let's do fails first. Bree, Olivia, who's ready?
My fail of the week is Lakewood. I live in Lakewood. Lakewood PD put out a press release, attempt to identify yesterday, for a panty raider.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
Who has been he's been committing these crimes between August 2021 and May 2023. And
a 2-year run?
He has committed at least 26 thefts from various laundry rooms on each floor of the Lakeview Towers at Belmar Apartments.
And he
primarily steals women's bras and underwear. And he has taken approximately $4,881 worth of items.
Oh my God. Okay. I just have this picture of a mountain of panties in his apartment.
Like, what is he doing with them? Like,
I know.
It's a lot of merchandise.
I know he's being creepy, but the sheer amount.
That's what I'm saying. Can you imagine what that looks like?
Where does he live?
The evidence locker for the panty stealer case?
It reminds me of that SpongeBob episode, The Panty Raid.
I have to say, I've never watched SpongeBob.
Yeah,
I could tell that. Not my reference.
I could definitely tell that by that episode you guys did where he tried to make a SpongeBob reference, and you guys
went right over Paul and I.
You guys were just like, ha ha ha.
The only SpongeBob thing I know is my wife's been watching it in Spanish, and in Spanish it's Bob Esponja, which is great.
I listened to a podcast that said that SpongeBob is actually just a queer show and every character is gay.
I would believe
Which made me want to watch it.
That's two people who don't know SpongeBob on SpongeBob.
I like it. Hot takes.
This is the podcast you tuned in for. Okay.
So that was my
that's
fail.
Your bummer
That's
of the
a really
week.
good fail. That's quite a fail.
It's a fail for a fail for the people whose underwear got stolen. I would be pissed. That is expensive.
Nice underwear is expensive. God. You already are having to use the public space of the laundry room.
As somebody who uses a communal laundry room.
Yeah. I'm like all for whatever your thing is. If that's your thing, like panties are your thing, but like do it consensually. You can buy panties from people off the internet. I don't know.
I'm sure some of those ladies would probably sell them to him for a price.
Just like
for a price.
I don't know. Okay.
I don't want to dwell in this person's mind. Let's move on. Bree, what's one of your fails?
Paul, actually, you flagged this story a couple weeks ago. We didn't really talk about it on the show, but this strip club operator bought the former Ocean Air space downtown for a new restaurant called Bombshells, which is a military-themed restaurant with waitresses who wear cleavage-revealing crop tops. Okay.
Enough said.
Enough said. Again, I want to state for the record, I am not shaming anybody who works here. Mm-hmm. Okay? Like, I had friends, I said this on Twitter the other day. I had friends that worked at Hooters in college. It's whatever. That's not my problem. My problem is, who is the demographic for this? Mm-hmm. Right next to the DCPA? Oh, we're going to go get a meal at Bomb.
Yeah, I think that is quite funny that it's right across from DCPA.
It's right across from DCPA. Downtown's already suffering from a PR issue, and this is what you bring in? This is like, this concept is so dated to me. I'm like, could we have a more like sexually revolutionary version of this? You know, like how Portland strip clubs are way more progressive. Like, could we get something like that going? This just seems like
that's true. Why isn't that here?
I don't know, because this is like for a very specific type of straight male.
Is it for the vets?
I guess.
I don't know. That's actually the part that I really appreciate about this story was this guy, this character who runs this chain actually of Bombshells strip clubs or restaurants. I don't know.
It is. They serve wings and burgers, pizza and pasta. That's too many things to
entertainment joints. Ugh. Dallas guy. And he said that he is making this big bet on Denver because he also bought that old Troy Guard food hall down in...
Someone on Twitter told me he ruined it already.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean ruined it?
He's like, all the good places already pulled out.
Well, maybe it's transition. Well, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that. But he said that he's made this big bet on Denver because we have this tech industry and a lot of single young men. So it's about our
you're
demographic
not going to meet women
potential.
There.
I mean, that's the kind of people who might be interested in a place called Bombshells, I think.
Yeah, I guess you want to have a parasocial relationship with your waitress.
I feel like it's going to be like over 50s.
You think?
Yeah.
For sure. It's going to be boomers.
That's what I'm saying. It feels dated to me. I just don't see this being...
I'm calling it now.
Well, we'll have our eyes on that
I'm
story.
Go.
We'll see how it develops.
It was just
I'll go stake it out.
I just want to say
we'll be there opening night.
It was my fail because downtown's already suffering from a PR issue, and this is what's coming in.
Yeah,
you're not selling me.
Well,
so good luck with that. Bombshells.
Shall I? Shall I go?
Yeah. Go for it, Paul.
All right. This was the story that got all of my friends talking this week, and it is a very sad fail. Pizzeria Locale is a local fast casual pizza chain that is closing on July 10th for good. They're shuttering the business after a 10-year run. If you're not familiar, somehow this was a place that it popped up 10 years ago. There was the fast casual pizza was a big deal, very trendy. Like, how do we Chipotle-fy pizza? And this one here in Denver seemed to be the one. And in fact, the people behind it, who are also the pedigreed chefs behind Boulder's Frasca, Bobby Stuckey and Lachlan McKinnon Patterson, they partnered with Chipotle to expand it. That's apparently when it went wrong. They had franchises in Cincinnati, Kansas City, failed, and now it's failed here.
It's such a bummer.
It was a good pizza, honestly. That's what
really
sucks about
pizza.
This.
And we order it from Grubhub, and they have like buy one, get one a lot of times. And it just ended up being way better than most delivery pizza. Quality ingredients, just really good. They were smaller pizzas, so you could get whatever kind of, you know, if you and your husband or whatever want to get different pizzas, you could. I'm just like, really? This is going away? We had a quality pizza that was pretty affordable and good on delivery. I don't know. What a bummer.
Yeah, truly. Olivia, you ever?
I haven't had it. I thought it sounded familiar because I'm from Kansas City.
Oh, interesting.
I've never had it though. I mean, I don't know. Is there really a shortage of pizza places?
No, but I think there's a shortage of this kind of place that does delivery well.
Yeah.
I think that's what Denver's pizza scene doesn't have in spades right now.
I have had,
in my opinion,
I'm kind of partial to Big Daddy's.
Really?
I've never been to Big Daddy's.
I think Big Daddy's is not bad.
I like Big Daddy's. They always, I don't know. They've come through for me.
All right. Well, if you miss out on the last weekend of Pizzeria Locale this weekend, maybe you could try Big Daddy's.
Yeah, go over to Big Daddy's.
Bree, do you have a pizza rec in that same kind of area?
No, I'm really struggling. I would say the other place that we go is Pizzeria Louie. Mm-hmm. But they're like often so overloaded because they're so popular. It's just not quite the ease. That was the thing about Pizzeria Locale is we ordered it through Grubhub and it was super easy. So I'm looking for something that's delivery.
Have you had Pie Hole?
Pie Hole's not bad.
I like pie, but I like it by the slice. That's like I'll go down to South Broadway and do that.
I like thicker pizza. I like doughier pizza.
Thin pizza by the slice, but I agree with you for a whole pizza.
Doughier pizza, but I thought Pie Hole was good.
Pie Hole is good.
I'd say Denver Pizza Company is a good delivery option.
Yeah.
And you can call if they tell you you're not in their delivery zone. You can maybe
Scream.
sweet talk them a little bit. Say you're close. They have budged on that for me in the past.
Oh God.
Denver Pizza Company.
So that's three big fails. Let's talk about wins of the week. Wins of the week. Who's?
I'll go. The Meow Wolf Workers Collective ratified their first contract with Meow Wolf leadership. So what I just love about this story, I know it wasn't ideal and it wasn't perfect. The details of it aren't really out there, but just getting to see artists be able to collectively bargain and have a stake in the thing that makes the city so much money makes me more hopeful for the future for artists. So I am just really excited for the folks behind that collective doing that work, because it's like having anytime you're organizing, it's like having a job on top of having a job. So for folks to be able to be doing these probably hourly wage jobs as well as running their own sort of union is amazing. And I just hope the best for them. And this also, it's not just artists, it's people that work within an arts organization, right? It's like the janitors and the people that work at the box office. But it's also like when you go into Meow Wolf, there's actors, right? And so all these people are considered
talented, skilled people.
Yeah. And I like that there's not a differentiation between those skills, because we need all of those to make things, all those types of people and those jobs to make things work. So I'm just glad that they were able to move forward with that. And I think it's interesting on the heels of Meow Wolf opening their 4th and 5th locations in Texas in 2024. So I'm hoping as they continue to grow as a company, the union's also able to continue to grow. I'm really proud of Colorado.
Couldn't agree more. I think this is going to lead to a healthier organization in the long run.
I think so too.
And it's a good sign. I hope that the management sees it the same way, that this means like a better organization for everybody and more long-term sustainable profit and growth.
Well, and we have to go back to the roots of Meow Wolf, which was a DIY collective of artists making immersive experiences before it became this thing that was fully funded. So at the roots of those collective groups in arts, that intersects so much with union organizing work and collective bargaining and these things. Like, it's awesome. It's a turn I didn't see coming, and I hope that it continues and grows.
Olivia, have you been to Meow Wolf Denver Conversion Station?
I haven't been yet. I talked to Bree about this in the past. I'm
go.
Well, I'm just kind of worried that I would get a little bit overstimulated.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I would like to go, and there's not like a lot of children, a lot of people running around.
I think if you go to the Adultiverse events, it's a little less crowded and it's not as many kids.
Because I really like,
or there's no
the
kids,
concept
obviously.
and the stuff, but it just seems like there could be a lot of overwhelming noise and lights and children and things.
I have to say, Paul and I got a really amazing opportunity to go before they opened.
Oh, yeah.
And I wish
cool.
that we had taken more advantage of that, but we
Yeah.
got to see the space before it opened, and it's a very different experience when no one is in it.
Right. And I think, obviously I would love that. I love a private tour, but
Shout out to Meow Wolf.
Meow Wolf, if you want to give me a private tour, I'll be there.
At the risk of making this more of an ad for Meow Wolf, but they are doing a cool event in Cheeseman Park in the next couple weeks. I don't know exactly the date, but it's called Monster Battle. I guess it's been something popular at the Santa Fe place, but they have these, it sounds like they get people to dress up like mech robots and like giant monsters, like Meow Wolf style, and they do it in a park and like put on a little show.
I love
So
that.
Doesn't that seem fun?
It's August 10th in Cheeseman Park from 4 to 9 p.m. and it's free. And but before that, if you want the weekend before, they're doing a workshop from 2 to 5 p.m. at Stanley Marketplace. And for $7, a professional monster costume maker will help you make a costume out of like reclaimed and recycled materials.
I don't need help.
So we can put a link to
believe
that
that.
in the show notes. But I also just think this is a really awesome introduction to immersive art as a person that maybe you've never made something.
That sounds so
Go make something
fun.
with a professional monster maker.
CityCast Denver does it.
Maybe we should.
We could. August 5th.
Be monsters. Let's make like a huge monster all together. I saw a pretty interesting float in the Park Hill Parade that was just like I'm sure it was something, I probably should have known what it was.
Like a pop culture reference or something.
Yeah, but I didn't know what it was. It just like, the jaw unhinged and it opened and there were people inside. And it was really cool. I took a video of it, so
That's awesome.
I don't know.
Maybe we'll see that video
Yeah.
at some point. Let's move on. Who's did you do a win, Olivia? I think maybe your turn.
Yeah, I've got a win. I would say, for hopefully, the chance of us beating this one to death, but the Zero Fare for Better Air, I would say, I was on the light rail this morning coming into downtown, and there were a lot of people on it, and I thought that was great. And, I know we've kind of talked about back and forth, like, does it actually make a difference or anything? But I just thought it was cool. And the Zero Fare, I started riding the light rail downtown before the Zero Fare for Better Air.
But did you notice a difference in the amount of people?
There have been so many more, because today was my first July ride, and there were the whole car I was in was full. And the other times I've ridden, besides the parade day, which it was insane, but the other days I've ridden, there have only been a couple other people in the train on Thursday mornings. And so the whole train was full today. And I thought that was really cool. And it felt, people were just on and off. And I don't know, it felt cool to be kind of part of that city type of thing,
I love that, actually. I am maybe too cynical about this, see last week's episode, but it is fun to be part of something, and it is exciting.
It was
when
cool.
They do this.
And
it's fun.
it feels really city-ish, because I live in Lakewood, which is definitely the burbs, but there's a station real close to me, and I just parked there and got on, and I was living my city life. It was cool.
Nice win. Nice win.
Thanks for bringing that positive PR back to the story, because Paul and I can be real wet blankets about
of
it.
Grinches when it comes to the state of our TV right now.
We are.
So a win. Zero Fare for Better. That's great. My win.
Go for it, Paul.
Listener CORY P, who made my day the other day when he emailed me this quote. After listening to today's CityCast Denver episode, I thought you may want a vegetarian recipe for Colorado green chili. This is my recipe that I've made for years and which won the Denver County Fair's salsa competition both times I entered. It's great fresh or can be either frozen or canned, water bath canning okay. And then he offers the recipe and describes how he tweaks it, but awesome.
What are some key ingredients here? Because to me, the green chili conundrum is pork.
Chilies.
That's what makes it delicious.
What do you do in place of pork? I mean, you can't really replace it. I've also been someone who's been perfecting my vegetarian green chili recipe over the years. And the thing that he seems to do different is cumin. 1 teaspoon of cumin, which I had not thought of before. Although he has figured out the same vegetable stock trick that I like, which is the better than bouillon, which is something you can get at King Supers. Is a fantastic product. But cumin, interesting.
That's such a specific spice too. It just has a certain flavor that's it's not a heat. It's it's not even a warmth. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel
you're supposed to say it?
How would you say it? Cumin?
Yeah, but I don't know.
I don't know its origins.
I don't know either.
Sound off in our social. How do you say it? Cumin or cumin? Let me know.
Well, we'll share that. Can we share that?
Yeah, we should share it.
How do we share a link to that?
I'll post it in the show notes. Okay. It's not a long recipe. It's short.
Thanks, CORY.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
CORY P, that is awesome. So anytime you want, if you find yourself listening and you think, I've got a recipe for a great dish, I wonder if Paul would like it. The answer is yes. Send me that recipe. Also, tips about stories that other people don't have, and memes. Those are the 3 things to send. Those are my 3 favorite things.
Sleepy time T-Bear TikToks.
So that's my win. Thanks so much. We got one more thing for you today. We're going to take a quick break and come back with some recommendations for your weekend.
What's up, weather fam? Rain or shine, I'm Andy Stein here with your CityCast Denver weather forecast for this weekend. And honestly, I feel like you don't need me to tell you what the forecast is going to be, because we've all grown to expect that thunderstorms and rain are in the forecast. And that's really no different for the beginning of this weekend. And wait, on top of this, we are coming off of the wettest June ever. And the first week of July already has been pretty wet and also pretty cool outside. I wore a sweater the day after July 4th. It was wild. Anyway, Okay, your forecast is looking a little bit up and down this weekend. Saturday, we have another chance for severe storms. Sunday, it's actually looking a lot more clear outside, which is great. But watch out for those storms on Saturday. They could get pretty rowdy. It's looking like the beginning of next week could start a trend of some drier and warmer weather. So let's hold on to that, because these past few weeks here of wet, cool weather, very abnormal for our area. Not all unwelcomed at all, but definitely abnormal. Y'all have a good weekend.
All right, and we're back. It's time for the official CityCast Denver Maybe for your weekend, as in maybe you'll see us there, because as usual, there's so many cool things happening in Denver this weekend, but there's only one where you might see us. Peyton Garcia rounds up her best bets in our newsletter, Hey Denver, every week, and she's here to give us her top picks. But first, Peyton, what's your beverage? Tell us about it.
First, I want to say, you guys are on one today.
What do you mean? Different vibe in the
You guys
room?
are just hilarious in a good way.
We didn't even get to your favorite bev.
It's
I
the
would need to hear about
prebiotic
the
soda.
beverage.
Chai latte, not chai tea. Chai latte.
I love a good
I'm
chai
drinking
latte.
a chai. That's my go-to. I don't drink coffee. Haven't
Elite.
since high school because it
icon.
makes my tummy hurt.
Oh.
I love
Hot
matcha.
girls have tummy problems.
I love matcha, but I've loved matcha for a really long time. And
Have
I
you
don't
done the Gen matcha with the roasted brown rice in it?
That sounds good.
no.
Oh, it's so good, you guys.
But I don't get like all crazy fancy with my
Me
matcha. I
neither.
also don't know how to make it. I just go to coffee shops where they have it and I order it. I will say in the last however many years, because I've been drinking matcha for like 10 years,
She did
and
it
you
before
could
it was
never
cool.
find it anywhere. I could never find it anywhere but Starbucks. But now it's definitely
It's everywhere.
You can
Caught on.
find it
I
everywhere
I
now.
love the Trader Joe's like instant matcha latte powder. It's
Oh,
already
I've never
it's
tried
it's
that.
already sweetened.
I need this.
It's already sweetened. It's already got like I don't know, some sort of like
TJ's has
probably
so many good
probably like
secrets.
powdered milk or something in it. I don't know. It's delicious.
That's great.
Tastes like
See,
the Starbucks
King
one.
Soopers used to have a matcha powder that I would get. It was like $10 for
Oh,
like
this is
3 ounces though.
This
It was
is
insane.
$5 for a can of it, and it makes all you have to do is add water, and it makes the whole latte.
I love that. I'll try
Yeah,
that
because
out.
I'm not trying to do the ceremonial stuff. Like, sorry, I just want
Okay.
no ceremony.
That's a hot tip. That's a hot tip.
So that's
Let's get to
that's that.
Yes, let's get to the weekend. What
Okay.
do you got for us, Peyton?
So, to start, this one comes with a caveat. It's an event that sounds really, really cool. I'm super interested in it. And I want to share it with you guys, but I want to let you know ahead of time. Tickets are gone. It is sold out. but you can join the wait list. I don't know if getting on the wait list for this event, if it ever happens. So it's at Denver Botanic Gardens. And here's the thing. They do really awesome events, but they sell out really, really
know.
fast. So you have to, my hot tip is get on their email list or whatever, keep an eye on their calendars and get your tickets early because they do cool stuff, but I can never share it because the tickets sell out really fast. And I don't know like if the wait list is like a legit place to get in. But that said,
But this event is so good.
it sounds
What
so
is
cool.
it?
And if
Tell
I
us
would
about
have
it,
had
tell us
time.
about it.
Okay. So it's called Garden to Glass and it is a workshop that's led by Susan Evans. She's the author of The Herbalist's Happy Hour, and she's going to teach you how to make, quote, refreshing agua frescas, extraordinary elixirs, and seasonal syrups using your own fruit and veggie harvests from your garden.
This is perfect for this show.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah, doesn't that sound so fun?
It
It
does sound
sounds
really
How long is
so
that wait
cool.
list?
I'm gonna hop the
I
fence.
don't know. But
right
it's
in.
so exciting to me that I'm going to go and buy Susan Evans' book anyway.
Oh, she's got a book. That's great.
Yeah.
Recipe
Put a link
book?
to that.
I don't know. The Herbalist Happy Hour. I'm assuming it's a
Probably.
recipe book.
Probably.
But I'm going to buy it and I'm going to give it to my sister who's an herbalist. So anyways,
Photocopy.
you can't go to it, but get on their mailing list.
Maybe
It sounds really
You
cool.
wish you could go to it.
Yeah, that's where we wish we could go. Okay, next event.
Mm-hmm.
Federales Live Art Series. So Federales is a Mexican restaurant where you can get tacos and margs and Pacificos.
Up in Rhino, right?
Yep, up in Rhino. And they are doing a live art series that they do every, I think it's monthly.
Regularly.
Regularly. They do it regularly. It recurs. And yeah, so you grab a taco, grab a marg, watch local artists create work live. And all of their work will be for sale. So support some local artists. Enjoy a nice meal. I've never been to Federales. I don't have any opinions about it.
Me neither. Seems cool, though. Seems like a nice patio. I've walked past.
Yeah.
Cool
fun
idea
way.
for an event.
Mhm.
I could see that being good.
Moving on. This weekend is also Taste the Facts / Colfax Art Jams.
Oh, cool.
So Colfax Art Jams happens every month. So it's a monthly event where local artists line East Colfax with their work, and you can check that out and support them. But this event coincides with Taste the Facts, which is a food event, meant to display the delicious and diverse flavors of Colfax. And you'll get to meet local chefs and taste their signature dishes. It's all free. So if you want to head out to the Colfax side of town, get some good food,
Seems
support
fun.
local artists.
Yeah.
Seems fun. Art, food, cool.
Taste the
Colfax.
Facts.
Love it.
Great.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I just was looking at it just now, seeing if they had a list of the artists because I always want to promote whoever it is. But go ahead.
Anything grabbing your eye on there, Brie?
I'm not seeing a list of them, so.
Oh, okay.
Moving
go
on.
on.
Well-
Okay. And my final event, Cross Currents. It's a festival that takes place at Confluence Park. Splash in the South Platte, if you so choose to do. Sip on craft cocktails and jam out to live local music.
It's called Cross Currents at Confluence Park?
Mhm.
Okay.
At the Confluence.
And they want you to get in the Platte River.
They say it
They
sounds
say it's
like
clean
it's not
now.
required.
I know that it's technically clean, and you can technically eat the fish out of it. You can technically
Yeah,
eat
I
the
don't
fish
know
out
about
of
that.
it. But
They have done a lot of amazing work. I don't want to undermine that fact.
It's
My
a nice
husband does
space.
the
yeah.
surfing on the Platte thing. Have you guys seen
Oh,
that?
really?
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
saw
I have
like
seen
a
that.
paddleboard.
Yeah, but you can do. There's like a current. They've built up like a rock area where there's like a current, and you can
Yeah.
kind of surf it.
I do have to say, if you go to that website and you look at the photos, it's very tempting. It looks like a fun time. People
Also,
look
it's
like
a
they're having fun.
Confluence Park's a cool
It's a
little
really nice
spot
place.
right in the
That's
middle
what
of
I'm
the
telling
city.
you.
I love it.
People are splashing. I don't know. You could convince me to go to that. I think.
I'm as I've established with you guys. I love a body of water.
That's true. You are a body of water gal.
I will always get in a lake or a stream. I grew up in Lake of the Ozarks. So,
Even the technically
I've-
clean South Platte.
Lake of the Ozarks is certainly worse than the South Platte or any other body of water for that matter. So I'm probably immune to whatever lies in there.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I might like it too, actually. That's like a nice thing to do on a summer day.
And it's
Put your
also right
feet
off
in.
the trail. So if you want to ride,
you
it's
could
a
ride
nice
your
bike
bike.
ride.
Yeah, that's the other
Honestly,
thing.
that's what
Look
I
at
love
the
about
pictures.
Confluence
Everyone
Park.
looks happy.
I could get
wanna
we could
do
ride
it.
scooters.
You
I-
can. That is a choice you can make.
I don't have a bike.
So we've got Garden of Glass at the Botanic Gardens.
Yeah, that would totally be our
Which we
choice.
Which
can't go.
Right.
sounds
Can
like
we
it
say
rules,
that
but-
would be our
That would be
Whiskey.
our choice, but we can't go.
Federales, see an artist do some art. Taste the Facts, art and food on Colfax, and Cross Currents
Cross
at
Currents is
the.
looking
that's
sick
where
to
I'm
me.
at. That's where my head's
Me
at.
too.
Yeah, I'm feeling it.
If it's gonna be another scorcher of a weekend
Yeah.
too.
Work on your tan.
Cross Currents sounds to me like the best.
If it's gonna be another scorcher of a weekend
Yeah.
too.
Work on your tan.
That's the winner. That's it. And there you have it, the official CityCast Denver maybe for your weekend, but there's way more where that came from. Peyton's got plenty more recommendations in our newsletter, Hey Denver, which you can subscribe to right now by texting Denver to 66866. Peyton, Bree, Olivia,
Hi.
thanks so much
Bye.
for
Thanks.
Bye.
Happy Friday.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. Our producers this week were me, Paul Caroli, Olivia Jewel Love, and Elizabeth Kama. Peyton Garcia writes our morning newsletter, Hey Denver. Bree Davies is our host. Our music is by Los Mocochetes, with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. If you haven't already, subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts, follow us on Twitter or Instagram at CityCast Denver, and tell Celestial Seasonings about us the next time you take their tour, which is good. You can sign up for our daily newsletter, Hey Denver, by texting Denver to 66866 and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. See you next week. Tell the Sleepy Time T-Bear also. I watched some of those TikToks. They are funny. They're really funny. It's a good account. That's a good follow.